What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. It is time to rise and shred. I am joined by the increasingly handsome Mr. Jacob Gaffney. He is looking very clean shaven with a bright color shirt on. He even ironed his shirt, ladies and gentlemen. You know why? Because you have to look good to get bad news. We have some things that you're absolutely going to want to pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen. Ransomware attacks, change is happening way too fast, and marketing diversity that you should be paying attention to. Maybe it's not even top of mind, but ladies and gentlemen, you need to be thinking about this. You have to, or you could get into some trouble with this CFPB. This and so much more this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It's time to rise and shred. Many faces of Jacob Gaffney. Like the changes that you and I go through, like, watching that is so much fun. Oh, every morning I see that, I'm like, oh, I love this. So morning, Mr. Jacob Gaffney. So excited to have you. As always, every Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen, you can join us on the Rise and Shred show. Jacob and I do this because we love you guys. We want to share value. And if you don't subscribe, you're just crazy. You can see the link below. Subscribe to Rise and Shred. Share it with your friends because we are the one and only daily diary of the mortgage industry. And you can get everything you possibly need right here. We get straight to the facts, straight to the points of the matter. You don't have to, we don't side link you. We don't link you out. Just come to where you need. Get what you need right here with me and Jacob. Jacob, how was your weekend, sir?
It was great. It was much better than our friends over at CloudStar yesterday revealed that they spent the weekend. They spent the weekend trying to get their files back so they could close a bunch of mortgages. It's not happening as of this morning. CloudStar systems are completely inaccessible to its staff. They were hit with a ransomware attack. We don't know how much, we don't know how long, but as you and I are both pretty up to speed on security in the space, there's a lack thereof. Anybody can be targeted. Rise and Shred talks about all the time, brings up information on how to protect yourselves, what you could do. Josh, we talk about maybe bringing more security experts onto your show to talk about it. It's one of those things, man. It's like it happens and no one wants to talk about it because no one wants anyone to know that they were the victim of a cyber attack. But this is only damaging us because it's keeping us vulnerable. Bingo. We have to start talking about this more and more. And if you're a victim of the cyber attack, you can't hide from it. The way we've seen that the current administration is going to start to change the law that you have to publicly disclose when you've been targeted. Right now, and there's been a change over the past few years that we don't call them hackers anymore. We say data breaches. We don't call them fraudsters anymore. I mean, this language needs to change because it's beginning to impact your business. When mortgages can't get to title, who gets impacted, Josh? Who? Consumers. Everybody. Yeah. Everybody's business. Everybody's business. It screws up everything for everybody along the whole chain. Can't close, can't get paid. Okay.
Bad news.
And the CloudStar attack is unusual because they did have security precautions in place. They weren't strong enough. Okay. You are not ahead of the game at all with cybersecurity. We're way behind on this one. And we're just going to try to keep up. Hopefully, CloudStar will get their systems up and running again, and we wish them the best, but it's going to be a tough day over there for them.
But Jacob, this is something like ransomware, these cyber attacks that are happening. We've seen a lot of change in dialogue, a lot of change in like what's actually being said around them. But this is something that I remember when it was first started, like became even like an issue within the mortgage and real estate space. Like people was like, they're like, no, it's not happening. And then we saw some of these big stories of where people's down payments or, escrow was being stolen. And there was and now that cybersecurity is an all-time high, and I've seen this in not just our space, but people, your hacker, whatever you want to call them, your hackers, you want to call them your data pirates. Is that one of the words that I've heard? Maybe you've heard that word. Like
they're criminals.
They are
criminals.
But people they're getting creative in 2020 and COVID. They're just like, hey, more people are online now more than ever. So they're getting more and more creative and they're focusing on the mortgage industry is one of the absolute largest industries in the world. So why not target where they know a lot of money's at?
I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of the damage these people can do and why they're going to want to do it. Okay. And let me tell you something, Josh. You and I, we're associates right now, but let's say you do something that really pisses me off. Okay.
Yeah.
Like really, and this happens a lot. And we become mortal enemies locked in battle, right? I can hire a firm to lock you out of your system. Yeah. That's what people don't understand is these criminals are for hire. Half the time they're not doing it to enrich themselves. Half the time they were hired to attack someone. Jeez. Doesn't that blow your mind? Doesn't that freak you out a little bit that I can go and then and you won't even know about it? But if you don't know, you don't know. And that's the thing. That's the crazy thing that people don't understand is that these firms are designed to come on, they attack, they get the money for themselves or for the client. We don't even know. Once they get your files, Josh, they're theirs too. They're theirs. So once I get your files, man, everybody you know belong to me. Everybody you talk to belongs to me. I have it. I could sell it. I could go and sell all of your all the subscribers to Rise&Shred are no longer a big secret behind a paywall or all this kind of thing. I could take it and I could do whatever I want. I could put it on the dark web. And I think people don't understand the gravity around the situation. I think they just think, well, they could just go through their day to day. And it's true. Like, Josh, when you're driving a nice car, right, you don't think about it getting stolen.
No.
But people are watching you. They're looking at that car and they're waiting for you to leave the keys in there. And what happens the moment you leave the keys in your pretty car and you walk into the store to go buy a Red Bull for you in the morning?
Yep.
Boom, the car's gone. Right?
Crazy.
It's the same for any other asset. It's the same for any other asset. Okay. They're going to wait till you leave the house to rob you.
Yep.
Same thing. As soon as your guard's down, and let me tell you, everybody's guard is down when it comes to 100%. Information technology. You do not have enough security. And if you think security costs too much now, wait for $1 million ransomware attack.
No kidding, right? Everybody's like, I got my McAfee installed. Nobody can hack me, Jacob. There's no way. I've got my McAfee, or I don't even know what other ones. I don't even know what I have on here. That's why we actually pay people for data security, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, Josh. If you sign in to your bank account, right, and you go over to your bank account and your password is Hello Kitty Awesome 35.
Dude, don't give away my password.
And Jesus, go change it. Wait, let's stop. Go change it. Go change your password. And you happen to have that same, and this is very, very common. You happen to have that same password, okay, right, for your work account.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
If I get that password, if I steal that password for your bank account, I can access your work account too, right? It's the same information.
Whew.
So, I think, like, again, I'm no expert on it. I definitely think you should consider having an expert on your show getting around, because there are simple things you could do to stop your credentials being stolen, to stop your information being stolen, to prevent wire fraud, to prevent escrow, all these things, all this. I mean, a mortgage is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. It's very, very attractive to people who like to steal lots of money.
Of course.
Right? It's a lot of money we're talking about here, but we don't need to belabor it. I think I'll commit to continually covering it as best I can. Again, not an expert, just a journalist.
Yep. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to have more on this tomorrow morning in the Rise&Shred. That's why you got to subscribe, so you can read more, so you can get the information you need. And like you said, this can happen to anyone. We're definitely going to have a cybersecurity. Jacob even mentioned, we're going to have somebody on the show talking more about this, so you can protect yourself. Not only just as companies, not only just these big conglomerates anymore, but you personally need to be paying attention to this for everything. So, talking about that, change is happening so fast right now, Jacob. Not only within the industry, within our entire world, change is happening. Is it happening too fast?
It is absolutely. It seems like for the longest time, for the last 10 years, we moaned about how change couldn't come to mortgages fast enough. Now we're faced with something very, very interesting, Josh. That's the opposite. The opposite is true, and it's across the economic analytical landscape, where we're seeing things such as, the chance of a second lockdown, right? The information comes out and economic analysts can't keep up. We saw last week the market began to swing in a different direction here and there in different pockets, right? We saw a bunch of different fundamental economic changes. And the problem that we're faced with, Josh, is we can't move fast enough.
Right.
We can't seem to take on board how the market is changing in time. And like we said before, when the Federal Reserve, they were arguing about it, and then they were agreed, and now they're back to arguing again. And then when they finally do something, the next thing we know, rates have risen, right? And we didn't see it coming. We didn't see it coming. So change is happening too fast. The only way to stay on top of it is to be sure that you get your information fresh every morning. Every morning, you've got to become addicted to getting your information in. It's the only way to give yourself peace of mind, to give yourself stability, to know that you're ahead of current events. A lot of people, they say, I don't think, and I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you've got to arm yourself with knowledge. It's really the only way. Change is happening too fast. There's threats to businesses all around. There's threats to the economy. It's again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news on such a wonderful day. I mean, you look great.
Thanks.
I look great.
You look amazing, man. I'm telling you that.
So, I just think that everyone needs to just have a cold, hard dose of reality first thing in the morning so that they could go out there and do a good job knowing that they are in a safe and secure environment.
Well, that's exactly what it is. And here's the thing. You mentioned this. We want people, why on Rise&Shred, we try to keep things to the point, direct. We're not trying to make it long and overbloated. Like sometimes it's just, hey, I'm going to rip the damn Band-Aid off for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right to it. It's going to hurt real quick, but we're going to it just is what it is. And that's what Jacob and our team at Rise&Shred continue to focus on is it's the things you need to know, get in there, get what you need, and then get out and get things done. So
yes.
And we're going to continue to. That's what we are committed to for you and for our entire industry. So it is happening too fast, but again, you can get all that you need. Come here, and we try to give you the things you need to know. But change happens, and we're going to continue to see change happen. Speaking about change, we're seeing a lot of conversations about diversity within all different, not just within real estate, mortgage, insurance, but marketing diversity necessities. Some changes need to happen. You and I are seeing this firsthand. And if you're not careful as a company, as a marketing firm, as a PR firm, as a marketing group, you might get yourself in some trouble, right, Jacob?
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time at this point. There's a change happening at the regulatory level that people need to be aware of. And I would like to say that everybody, everyone on the show is a good person. Yep. And I'd hate to see anybody get in trouble for something that they kind of inadvertently did. And one of the things that we're seeing now is that you have to have diversity in your marketing materials. Okay. If you're putting marketing materials out there, and I've got a great example that I could show you. Okay. And I don't mean to pick on anybody, but this is your typical marketing material book, right? Lots of pretty houses, and, a couple of ads there, and you put your staff on the back and all that. There is a case where regulators may find that should someone complain, should someone take a look at that and say, well, I didn't see anybody who looked like me in there, so I don't think they're basically telling me that I have no place to buy. In there. So your marketing material has inadvertently told someone else that they feel offended. Okay. Now don't come at me. All right. I'm just telling you the interpretation here at the regulatory level. Yeah. All right. We're not accusing anybody, but this is where the systemic discrimination in equity is going. This is where the conversation is going. If you're listening and you feel this is an uncomfortable conversation, then it's probably a good thing.
Yes.
Okay. You should probably not be comfortable with your current marketing materials. You should probably not be comfortable with the way you are projecting yourself into the market. You should be questioning how you are doing your marketing right now. You 100%. Should be concerned that you may offend someone and make them feel that they don't have a place at your table because of their race, because of their religion, because of any extenuating factor. There are many now. It's because of their gender, for any reason. And the only way that you can do it proactively is to make sure your marketing materials show a level of diversity. You just have to show that you're putting thought into it, Josh. You just have to show a bout of effort. Okay. If that's there's nothing, you're fine.
Right.
And it reminds me a long time ago when I went to go watch Elizabeth Warren speak about the CFPB, right?
Yep.
She's the architect of the CFPB. This is definitely the regulator who's going to come at you if you don't have diverse marketing materials. Okay. So she was talking about the CFPB, and I said, well, why are you regulating? I asked her a question, why are you going to regulate appraisals? Appraisals are valuations that lenders use to determine their risk, or whether if the borrower can't make the payment, the lender wants to know their recourse and the value of the property that the collateral for the loan. So why are you going to? So you've opened the door with this CFPB for people to go complain about appraisals. Oh, I've been lowballed. Oh, it's too high or whatever. But the consumer should not have any real recourse, any real consumer protections against the appraisals. That's what I thought. Of course, I was wrong, right? I was wrong. Consumers do have recourse for appraisals. That's what the CFPB is for. But her answer, Elizabeth Warren's answer to me, and she thought for a few seconds, and all the other journalists looked at me like, who's this guy, right? Doesn't want to protect consumers. She looked at me and she said, if you're not breaking the law, you have nothing to worry about.
Interesting.
And that was a very defining moment for me. For one, it wasn't a political dodgeball answer. It was an accurate answer.
Sure.
Okay? But what's the law? It's changing all the time.
All the time.
So that's why I'm saying you got to just be ahead, because this is coming.
Big time.
You are going to hear cases of this. One thing this CFPB likes, one thing this FHFA likes, one thing this HUD likes is headlines.
You bet. All day long.
Okay. So they know the value of putting information out there. All right. And hey, I'm just saying, you got to keep that in mind when you're doing your day-to-day. Otherwise, you're going to get a letter.
And that's the last thing you want. I was going to say, because that just starts a snowball effect. You have to be thinking about this. I talk a lot about creating content, putting yourself out there. But if you're not thinking in ways of like, hey, how could this be? We live in that type of world and society now, Jacob. And like you said, I want to make sure we emphasize this point, because all of our listeners, all you viewers, everybody who supports Rise&Shred, we know you're not malicious. We know you're not in it. You are not trying to exclude anyone. We want to include everybody as much as possible. But sometimes if you're not forward thinking about it, if you're not keeping each other accountable as a team, looking at what you are putting out to the society, like on social media and different avenues, you could get and not intentionally. You absolutely like it. Just like, I guarantee that piece of like that pamphlet that you got, they looked at that and they're like, this is fantastic. Like, this is going to catch so many eyeballs. They weren't thinking about it, but that's what ultimately we need to be thinking about it.
But they put it out in public.
Bingo.
Gosh.
Bingo.
It's not private. It's not something that they're just handing to friends. This came in my mailbox.
Yep.
And if I were to look at that and I made it determine that there's something not fair lending happening here, I can complain.
Right.
And maybe of the hundreds of thousands of complaints, the CFPB goes, this is one that we can maybe teach a lesson on.
Exactly. Yep.
It's what we call headline risk. And it's something that everybody should be considering when they're putting together their marketing plan.
We're not trying to scare anybody. Like, we're just trying to give you the truth, maybe a little bit. Okay, I'm with you. Maybe a little bit.
Just nice to scare people.
But we're just giving you the cold hard facts. Like you said, the administration that is over, are dominating of FHFA, of HUD, of CFPB. They're looking for these headlines, and they're looking to make examples, especially coming off a banner year. We always see this. You and I have been in this industry long enough to see these type of trends. They are looking for people to make examples of, and you don't want to be the one. You don't want to see your brokerage. You don't want to see your company as a headline that's like whatever it may be, whatever the terrible headline is. We want to make sure we give you enough and scare you just a little bit so you're paying attention to it. That's it.
That's it.
It's that simple. So Just brilliant. Like, ladies and gentlemen, these are the things, all three of the things that we shared with you this morning are things that nobody else is talking about. You can find them here on Rise and Shred. We give you the cold hard facts. We give you the data, and all we ask in return, just subscribe. We want this to be valuable. We want you to get the things that you need to be successful in our industry. And like Jacob said so brilliantly, you need to educate yourself. Take 5 minutes. That's all we ask in Rise and Shred. That's all it takes you to read Rise and Shred. We have timed ourselves time and time again. It takes you 5 minutes to read Rise and Shred. Get all that you need as the number one and only daily diary of the mortgage industry. Get it right here. Jacob, you're brilliant, man. Number one, and you look absolutely fantastic this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Not so bad yourself, Josh.
Oh, thanks, man. I do my best. I try to keep up with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys joining us this morning. And like we said, subscribe below. What could go wrong? Well, not much. You just get the absolute best, the daily diary of the mortgage industry. With that, we appreciate you. We love you. We want all of you guys to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See you guys.